Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Lights Out with Ish and Eve. I'm Ish and this is Eve, and as you can see, our setup is a little bit different today.
I am in the US of A, home of... My brain's not working already! Home of Logan Sargent. And yeah, it's been difficult to tee up the time zones because Ish is a working girl and I'm traveling with a team of people who don't like time management, so that's been really fun. So basically, as it stands, Ishana has to go to work in like 30 minutes, so we're just gonna bang out as much of this episode as we can, and then if we have to come back midway through and it looks a little different, then we are filming it tomorrow morning for me
now, yeah,
and in the evening after her day of work for her. So
yeah,
just a disclaimer on that. We're making it work and we'll see how we go, but just a disclaimer, if it changes halfway through, that's why. But yeah, we're here. I'm excited to be filming it again. First race after the summer break.
I know,
back in business.
I know. It feels simultaneously like it was a really long time and a really short time.
I feel like it was really short because I've been so
busy traveling the world.
I've been so busy, but yeah, but like I'm just glad it's actually been nice. Like in the US, the time zone is good. Like the race was on at the race started at I think 9 a.m. It was 9 a.m. The race started at 9. I was chilling.
I was up at 11 p.m. just like, and then was like trying to keep my eyes open because quite frankly, after the first like 15 laps or so, like, or at least after Lando overtook Max, it was
it wasn't
not that great.
Let's just say it wasn't the best race we've had this season. I think the fact that Lando won made it much more exciting for a lot of people around the world, including myself. But yeah, like there were a few good like storylines, I guess. Like we'll get there.
It was a good race for the plot.
Yeah, but in terms of actual like racing, we've seen better this year. But the standard is also high this year.
Totally. First of all, how cool was the like gyro cam? Like
oh my god, yeah,
with the banking.
That was so cool.
In Zandvoort.
I felt like I was playing a video game. I was like, Mario Kart? Is this Rainbow Road?
I know. Is this Rainbow Road? Literally.
It was so fun.
And then obviously we had some news.
Yes, we should definitely recap a little bit of news.
Yes. Well, first of all, the big thing was Jack Doohan signing with Alpine, another Aussie. Let's go.
I was so excited. Also, I woke up to that news. How did that happen? I thought I was in a better time zone. I was like, how am I still waking up to news? I was like, this is something that happens in Australia, not here. But nevertheless, do you want to know how I found out as well? Obviously, you had messaged me, but I didn't see it. I woke up. First notification that I got when I turned on my phone, it was Formula One, and it was like, Alpine, why signing Jack Doohan is the best... And I was like, what? I was like, hello? So I, like, obviously checked everything, and I was like,
yeah.
Yes, I love all of the memes about, like, are you sure you signed him? Is he signed properly?
I know.
So
well, there is a bit of, like, now, once again, issues with it, because apparently, like, I was reading this morning, like, Mick Schumacher was, like, one of the options. Yeah. And he, like, didn't find out from Alpine. He found out, like, on Instagram. Which is just, like...
that's so bad. Tell him.
So they really just
tell him.
Like, they can't sign a driver, apparently, without it causing chaos.
Like, bruh, please. Just inform that man. Be like, sorry... You know.
Yeah.
Jack Doohan's
so now
better.
The Alpine, I know. So now the Alpine lineup is set. So we have
Pierre Gasly must be so happy.
Yeah.
War is
real.
over.
And we have so many Aussies on the grid.
I know. Well,
like, between the Olympics and the F1, But between the Olympics and the F1, we're absolutely punching.
For real.
So
absolutely. I'm here for it. honestly.
Yeah.
Also, that news about Haas not paying their former sponsor.
I know.
That's outrageous.
You're
What's going on?
Yeah. Crazy. And they can't leave Zandvoort. They're on like a court order.
I know.
They haven't been able to go to Monza. I think that's sorted they can leave like today or something.
I think that's... Yeah.
But how crazy. It's so bizarre.
Because that was Nikita Mazepin's dad's thing, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
That's so orkies. Like, your son was shit. What of it? Like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, you paid us this money to give your son a seat, and he sucks.
Well, that, and also, like, that Russia invaded the Ukraine, and they were like, ooh.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Russia did invade the Ukraine, and all of that did happen, but also he was shit, so...
Yeah. So
there's no shying away from the fact that he was kind of bad. Anyway.
Yeah. The other bit of news, was that Bono is now the head of race engineering at Mercedes. I think he's still most likely going to be like Kimi's race engineer when they announce him at Monza.
Yes, because Toto let that slip.
Yeah, I know.
That's so
he's like
funny.
George and Kimi.
It's like, Toto, you have no one to blame but yourself. At least he can't get mad.
For real.
But
honestly.
Yeah. That's like, but then people were like, oh no, it's truly over. Like, Bono was never gonna go to Ferrari. Like, let's be so for real. People were like, it's over for sure, and I was like, didn't we know that? Like, what did we expect? Bono to be like, I'm gonna turn over my entire life in the UK and move to Italy and be part of Ferrari's team because Lewis Hamilton, as if he wasn't at Mercedes pre-Lewis.
Literally.
Anyway,
so those are the news things, I think.
And also, just obviously the fact that Toto let slip that Kimi's getting the seat. And the fact that Helmut Marko said that Liam Lawson was going to be in a seat. Obviously, it's Helmut Marko. Take it with a grain of salt. But we could have 4 rookies on the grid.
Yeah. So, like, just quickly on that as well.
Yes.
So, like, we could get Liam Lawson, I think, in, like, an RP or something. But also, Logan, after his massive crash in FP3...
We might get Liam this year!
Of him. Literally, well, that's the thing, there's talk... Because, which I do kind of get if you're James Vowles. Yeah, well, because it's like, Logan's not scoring any points for you anyways, so that doesn't matter. And... if you can't even trust him to not...
cost you money every weekend.
Yeah, destroy the car, which is then, like, in the cost cap era of, like...
Yeah.
You now can't put that money towards developing for next year when you've got Carlos Sainz in the car.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, but I think it's a win-win. Like, first of all, Williams gets to get rid of Logan Sargent, which apparently James Vowles has been wanting to do for months. And also for Red Bull... they get to see Liam in a car for a solid amount of time. You know, like, it helps their decision too. Yes, it's not Red Bull machinery, but they get to see a current look at how where he's at.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think it makes more sense for Williams because of their connection with Mercedes to take Kimi Antonelli.
Yeah.
But who knows?
I know. I agree with that, but I never saw that as like a rumour. I only saw that they were talking to Red Bull about loaning Liam Lawson. And I was like, that's a win for Red Bull, especially because apparently they can take him back. Like, if they need him, they can be like, yoink!
Yeah.
And then Williams, has to find someone else, like, last minute. It's like musical chairs at the last. Like, if someone gets injured or something, that would be... I hope no one gets injured, but, like, that would be kind of crazy.
Shall we dive into the weekend?
Yeah, we definitely should. So, FP1, most cars brought upgrades, I feel. Like, we need to touch on that. Most people brought upgrades. Significant upgrade packages with McLaren and Williams.
Mm-hmm.
And I think those are the major ones.
Yeah. I think Ferrari were testing some upgrades for Monza.
Shock. And I think Haas also had upgrades, but I think Nico broke them all. So
Yes.
No, he was actually wearing the old front wing on both of those crashes in the practice sessions. So he was good. I had new commentary because I got F1 TV.
Oh,
because KO doesn't work in America. So I've paid for a month of F1 TV.
Oh,
and so I have different commentary. It's Will Buxton.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, hey. I didn't know that. Yeah, I was like, I assume he's just always there.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, hello. Fancy seeing you.
How random.
I know, which was kind of funny.
Well,
but I was like, this is different. This is fun because now we would have heard different things on the commentary.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. I feel like in practice, like particularly FP1 and FP2, it was like all the drivers just had forgotten how to drive over the summer break.
I mean, FP1 was wet.
And true. But even in FP2, like Nico had his big lockup, obviously.
Yeah.
Like
everyone was locked into turn 1. Everyone was just like, nah, can't make that turn.
Yeah, not happening. And then obviously there was Logan's massive crash.
That was
FP3,
massive.
which was scary. Like
that was really scary. I was very glad he was okay, of course. But like that was a large crash. In like a weird
you need to get out of the car,
track.
It's on fire.
Yeah.
Like
that must be such a scary feeling. Like you can't see that.
I know. Crazy.
Yeah. We haven't had a fire crash in a while. Like we had fire when Max's brake blew up, but that wasn't a crash.
No.
Anyway,
something
that I wanted to say was that like Williams upgrades were looking good too.
Yeah.
Like Alex was P6 in FP1.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, it's practice, but they were putting in good times.
Yeah.
Because like Logan was pretty good in FP1 as well, but then he crashed and now he's getting sacked. So I feel like James Vowles might have been literally just been waiting for him to have like a big crash so that he could be like, right, now, see ya.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway,
but
should we talk about quali or is there?
Yeah.
What else happened in FP3?
Nothing really, because it got red flagged pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, it got red flagged.
And it was wet, so like people weren't going out a lot either.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about in FP2 how Carlos had a gearbox problem and basically couldn't run. So he had like no dry running practice coming into quali. So I think that is part of the reason of his poor qualifying result.
Yes.
He literally had like 20 minutes of dry running in practice. Yeah. So that's just a note. Yeah.
I mean, on Ferrari and quali in Q1, there was like a moment where they were like P1 and P2, and I was like, right, we're on.
And then they were like struggling to get through.
Said, never mind.
That was before any of the other good cars put in their times.
Yeah,
I don't know if it was. You're like, screenshot,
I think, like,
and that's enough for me.
Yeah, call it here. Quali's over. This is the starting grid. But obviously, like, Danny Rick got knocked out.
Oh, I was so upset.
I know. Oh. And both Saubers, as per
usual suspects.
They just, like, to talk about them now because, like, they were just shit in quali and in the race. And particularly Zhou. Like, bro, I know the car's bad, but you can't be running last every single time. Like,
I did see a quote from him, like, on some interview over the summer break, and he was like, it's been really frustrating and really upsetting the whole season. Like, the car is not built for his driving style. Apparently, that's what he says. He says the car is not built for his driving style, and he's constantly second best in terms of updates. They always update Bottas's car first. I'm like, well, that's
but they'll do that
uncommon.
because they'll always give the better driver the upgrades first. Like if they can only give them to one, but it's just like, I feel like he and Logan are very similar, but because Logan has these like big crashes, he gets talked about more. But like Zhou is constantly at the back.
Yeah,
and it's just like, but yeah, anyway, back to quali.
Yeah. Q2.
Yes.
We lost Carlos and we lost Lewis.
That was crazy.
How did that happen?
Especially considering, I know, well, especially considering Lewis's form. Like,
yeah.
You know, in the
that
lead
was
up
a shock.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that whatsoever. That was crazy.
No.
I was kind of like Carlos, like as we just said, like he didn't really get much dry running and it was kind of showing.
Yeah.
But Lewis,
I know, crazy.
did they like time it wrong? Like what, did he just make a mistake? Like,
I know. Bizarre.
He also impeded Perez and he thought he was out of the way, but the stewards said that's not correct. Also, just another note, Logan Sargent his car was not fixed by quali because while F1 mechanics are good, they are not magicians. They are not wizards.
I know. Well, they had like 2.5 hours to basically fully repair his car.
Yeah, the whole thing. And it was like new upgraded parts too.
Yeah.
I'm impressed because when they got the car ready for the grid on Sunday, sorry to skip ahead a little bit, they got him to the new specs. They fully upgraded his car to the new upgrades. I thought that was really impressive. I was like, girlie's going to have to go back to the starter pack. I was like, what? I was like, what a step forward from Australia when Alex crashed and they were like, we don't have parts.
Yes.
Period.
Come a long way.
So I was like, good job. You know, to be fair. And anyway, back to quali.
But
Q3.
Yeah. Dude, Lando going 0.3 faster than Max on such a short lap was insane.
I was eating that up. I was so happy.
I'm sure you were.
I was loving it. It was so good.
Crazy.
0.3.
I know.
McLaren upgrades are like... But then Oscar not putting it on the front row was a little upsetting. But he just couldn't string the lap together. Like his first run in Q3 was good. But then his second run, he just like made a few mistakes and like couldn't string the sections together. And P3, I mean...
Yeah, he was... I think Oscar just didn't have the best weekend.
No, he had an off one. But it happens. And
it does.
I think people's expectations of Oscar have skyrocketed. And people forget that how good as he is still in his second year.
That's very true.
I think... I think people need to on that a little bit. Aston Martin was quick in quali.
Yeah, having both of their cars in Q.
Backwards in the race.
Yeah.
But I was like, okay, bringing it back. Yeah.
I know.
Also, Alex Albon.
Dude, when he put that car in like
P8?
What was it? P8. I was like, wow, I was so impressed.
I was so happy for him.
I know. Well, because I like watched it and I went to bed because it was like 1 a.m. And then I like woke up and I saw the news and I was like...
See, this is what I'm used to. I had the live experience. I got like the notification from the Formula 1 app. And every time I get a notification from the Formula 1 app, I'm like, what's happened? And it was like, I can't remember what the headline was, but I was in an airport and I was like, oh! It was like,
dude,
what?
It was crazy. So there was so many things that happened to the starting grid, like after quality.
No.
So Albon got disqualified because, and apparently his flaw was like less than a millimeter. Like not even a full millimeter, like less than a millimeter. I think that's what James Giles was saying. Like,
bro, how are what measurement tools are you using?
Honestly.
Like, how can you see that? What telescope are you using to find that?
I mean, like, surely there's a margin of error. I don't know how true the millimeter thing is. That's what I've heard. But anyways, either way, probably a very small amount.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he got disqualified. Lewis got his 3-place penalty, which like I think for Lewis as a driver is harsh because like he's, you know, he did all he could, but like ultimately his team probably should have.
Yeah, and it did severely impact Perez's lap.
Yeah.
Like it did really fuck him over, to be fair. And that's probably like what they kind of look at. They were like, well, he did have to slow down a fair bit to go around.
And then K-Mag ended up starting from the pit lane.
Yeah, so Logan didn't even drive in quali and started P18.
No, which is about where he would have been anyway.
Yeah.
Well, should we start talking about the race now, or should we pause? Just because I'm mindful of the time and I want to like have an easy place to
start. That's probably a good idea. Can I tell you a few facts quickly? I know that this is not the right section, but I'm just excited about it.
No, that's okay.
Can we do it now? Go. Is that okay?
Yeah. That's how I used to start. Yeah.
Because I was like, we have 9 minutes until you have to go.
Totally. I know. But I just know that 9 minutes isn't enough time for us to talk about the race.
Oh, no, definitely not. I think that's a great idea. But I was like, since we have the time, let's talk about something that doesn't take up that much time and is kind of in a little realm of its own, so to speak.
Yes, agreed.
So I have 2.
Right, hit me with your useless stat.
I have 2. First one. This is McLaren's first win from pole since Monza 2012.
What?
Yeah.
Monza 2012?
Yeah, it was Lewis.
That's so funny.
Is that not outrageous?
That's so outrageous.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
I guess, yeah.
That's just crazy. But like, for a lot of that time, they weren't pole sitters.
Yeah, totally.
Because of other team dominance, etc.
Yes.
But isn't that crazy? A little wild.
That is crazy. Wow.
Anyway, so there's that. My second stat is actually from Spa, but I just thought it was like really cool.
Yes.
So Spa, obviously the last race before the summer break, was the first time ever that all of the top 10 finishers were race-winning drivers.
Yeah, I did see that stat.
Yeah, so it was Hamilton, Piastri, Leclerc, Verstappen, Norris, Sainz, Perez, Alonso, Ocon, Ricciardo.
Crazy.
And it would have been the top 11 if they hadn't disqualified my boy, George Russell. But they did. But anyway, I thought that was wild. The first time ever.
That is wild.
Ever. What do you mean?
Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that.
Yeah.
I know.
Anyway.
I actually also have a really useless stat because I thought the stat was going to be interesting when I looked it up, and then it just wasn't all that interesting, but I'm going to tell you it anyway.
Yes.
Because obviously I was like, oh, like steak, Sauber have just been so shit this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, well, when was the last time that like a team just hadn't scored points the whole season? And I was like how long ago would you think it would have been?
Quite a while, I would have thought.
That's what I would have thought, right?
Like 10 plus years.
That's what I would have assumed.
Was it like Haas?
Yeah, it was Williams in 2020. Oh. Yeah, did not score a point that season. Which, to be fair, was a shorter season because of COVID. But
but still.
Still, I was like,
that's when Claire Williams was like, I'm done.
I know.
Like,
I'm
out.
Like, even before that, it was 2015. So, like, I didn't think that, like, just not scoring points was,
that
like,
common?
That common.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's common, but... And it's also not even the end of the season yet, so I... Do I have faith?
Totally.
Maybe everyone crashes in Baku and then Bottas can sneak P10.
So true. Charles puts it in the wall, calls himself stupid.
Hey!
No, not Charles.
As if you would bring that upon your driver, as if. That's wild from you.
That was
wild
silly.
behaviour.
I know. I don't know why I said that. Anyway.
Because of what happened in the past.
I know, but...
Anyways, I feel like that's a good place to pause and hold.
Yes. Anyways, so we did say this might happen, but here we are, we're back. It's now nighttime for me, and Evie's just woken up.
Good morning. So, Shana's gone about her whole day of work. I've been asleep, and now we're back. You can't say we're not committed.
So we just finished talking about quali, and now I guess we'll talk about the race.
Yeah. Well, first thing I thought was kind of funny when they do the national anthem. I was like, oh, it's been a minute. It's been a while since I've heard it.
True. You know what? I was like, it's such a pretty national anthem. Like,
Yeah, because we never hear the lyrics.
I know, but it was so nice. I was like, oh.
It was cute. Did you see that like F1 car and lion made out of tulips?
No.
Oh, it was massive. There was like on this big float made out of tulips, an F1 car with like a
no, I
lion.
did see that.
Yeah.
There were
So
many
extra.
memes. There were so many memes of like Max in 2023 and it's like an actual lion. Max in 2024.
I know. It was so good. I was like, that's so extra, but I'm so here for it.
So funny.
I was loving it. I was like, that's elite. Whoever did that.
Yeah.
Props.
I love that.
Anyway. So the start of the race.
Bro, he didn't even make it to turn 1.
He didn't even make it 10 meters.
Literally. He got him straight away. Like, obviously, he just had some wheel spin or something, and it was a terrible start. But, like bro.
Because I was expecting him not to be leading just because of... That's what always happens.
Yeah.
But he said that, like, before the summer break, that's what he knew he needed to work on. But also, all 3 cars that started on that side lost a place, and all 3 cars that started on the other side gained a place because of the grip.
We were talking about that when we were watching it. We were like, oh, it's actually worse to start.
Yeah, so Lando, Oscar, and Perez all lost a place on that side.
Yeah.
Whereas on the other side, Max, George, and Charles all went up a place. So they like literally...
Yeah.
And I think that has something to do with it.
True.
As a Lando defender, I think
so...
that has something to do with it. But you can't discount that. Like, you actually can't. And on F1 TV, there was a... and I am aware his starts are just bad. I'm not just completely defending him. But, like, the F1... On F1 TV, when they watched the replay, they were like, his revs were good. His reaction time was good. The car just, like... there was no... The grip. Like, it was literally... to a degree that, and with Max getting a good start, but Max always gets a good start. Like,
I know.
But yeah, that's...
I know. The really funny thing was like, in Lando's post-quali interview, when he was like, oh, so it's a short run down to turn 1. Like, and Lando was like, I don't know why you're asking
He was
that.
like, girl.
And then that was why.
I also loved in his post-quali press conference.
Yeah.
And one of the reporters asked him, like, oh, are you desperate to get the win?
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm not desperate. I'd like to win, but I wouldn't say I'm desperate. I'm not giving you that headline. I was like, yes. I was like, eat them up, girl. Like, they asked some dumb shit, and like, I love that. I was like, sassy Lando.
It was great.
There is always space for sassy Lando.
I know.
Wherever he goes.
Agreed. One thing I thought was crazy in like the opening laps. The opening laps of the race overall were very good. There was lots of wheel-to-wheel racing and overtakes as like the order got sorted out. But McLaren asking Lando on the radio like who he thought he was racing was kind of crazy. I was like, shouldn't you know?
I was a bit confused by
why
that.
are you asking him? Like,
and I was like, if you like,
he's not gonna
who
know so
else
much
were
about
you
the
going to be
order.
racing?
I know.
Yeah. I'm like, if you're asking him that, you should be just saying like, oh, you're still racing Max, George isn't catching up. Like,
yeah, it was such
or like
a
gap to
bizarre
Russell
question.
like 5 seconds already. Like, because it was. Those two just pissed off, like Max and Lando. Left everyone in the dust very quickly. And that was such a weird message.
It was very strange.
Lando was like, the car in front, I assume. Like, who else? That's your job.
It was very, very weird. But so that was very strange. Also, I think Pierre Gasly drove an amazing race.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. That was elite.
Yeah, he defended like crazy. His like that. Well, he had some great overtakes himself, but yeah, he was very very solid driving.
Yeah, it was great to see. Obviously, Lewis starting so far back, just cut up everyone.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I saw him qualify so low and then get the grid penalty, I was like, Mans is going to slay everybody in his path.
For real.
And he did. Obviously, Mercedes, I was expecting them to be better on the whole.
Yeah, me too.
That in the race, they kind of, like, they just didn't do good on the hard tyre. Like, Lewis went 21 laps on those softs at the start of the race.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. And then they put him on the hard, and, like, 20 laps later, they put him back on another soft, and he did another 20 laps on soft. I was like, how is your hard tyre lasting you the same amount of time as your soft?
I know. It was it was crazy.
What? Yeah.
But, yeah, it was cool to see him, like, come through the field, for sure.
Yeah.
Coming back to Pierre quickly, did you see when he made his pit stop and, like, nearly took his, like, wheel guy's hand off?
Yeah.
Bro, these pit stop people are in trouble between Oscars and Chuckman.
Oh my god. and now this. Yeah, they were saying like maybe he reach to like adjust something on the
Yeah. Like it was clearly like the guy's fault. Yeah. Quote unquote. Just like not, getting his hands clear in time. But like, yeah, that was kind of crazy.
That was a little close.
I know. But, yeah, that was funny.
So, Carlos's overtake on Pierre, speaking of Pierre.
I know.
That was sick.
Such a good, so good.
That was good racing.
Yes. And it was sort of like, oh, so Pierre, like, when it's not Esty Bestie, you'll leave the space. You'll do it fairly.
I mean, Ocon has bought himself that.
Oh, totally. He's not without
place in Pierre's heart. Bad place in Pierre's heart.
That was honestly, I think maybe one of the best moments of the race.
I agree. I totally agree.
After about, like I said earlier, after about lap 15, it kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I have still trauma from Austria, so when Lando was catching up the back of Max, I was like...
True.
But that was a really simple DRS overtake on the straight.
Yeah.
See ya.
I know.
And then he fucked off.
I know.
Into the lead.
He beat Max by a bigger, margin than what Max beat everyone by in Bahrain. Yeah. Which is interesting. Shows the, decline of Red Bull, but, mostly the rise of McLaren.
For sure. But to be fair, and I've seen some Lando and McLaren haters on TikTok showing this footage of the absolute shopping trolley behaviour of that Red Bull. When Max was saying the car isn't turning.
Shopping trolley behaviour is so funny.
It was. I'll send it to you.
That's so funny.
I'm pretty sure in Woolies I've had a better experience with my cart than Max had with that Red Bull. Because that it was he was complaining that it wasn't turning, and that's a problem that they've been having.
Yeah.
Recently. And it shows him, I don't know how I'm going to do this and hold the mic, but they're going into the corner and turning the steering wheel and going kind of jigging the steering wheel like this to try and get it around the corner, and it's just meow.
Right.
Sliding the other way.
Yeah.
To be fair, and Max knew as well, he was kind of complaining about it on the radio, and I think the most telling thing is after the race. I mean, this is a point I want to make later, so I'm just going to wait. It's a good point, but anyway, get to the first set of pit stops, and to my absolute shock, and I'm sure a lot of people's, to your great pleasure, Ferrari pulled a really good strategy.
So we need to take a moment for the fact that Ferrari had the most unexpected, like, amazing weekend. Charles was like, how am I here on the podium?
He was so shocked.
Like, hey?
I mean, like, beforehand, he was like, a podium would be a miracle. And then next second, he's like, oh.
Literally. Like, Carlos started 10th, finished 5th. And Charles started
6th, finished 3rd.
Yeah. Like, I was so happy. I was like, this is best case scenario, quite frankly.
For real. That's better than best case. Like, best case scenario, I would have had Ferrari finishing, like, 5th and 7th.
Yeah. And
like, as a best case for them this weekend.
Totally. And, like, Charles especially, like, he obviously at the end kept Oscar at bay. And
I was so shocked. I was like, what are you doing, Oscar? Go! That thing is a tractor. You're in a rocket ship.
Literally. But
this is a no-brainer.
But that was the thing, was it wasn't a tractor. He was doing, like, the same lap times as Lando and Max. Like...
I know, but in my head, when I saw he was behind Charles with, like, 30 laps to go, I was like, okay, that's a done deal. We're getting round.
Totally. But no. I know.
We were not getting round.
It was amazing.
But
I was very
Ferrari
happy.
undercut 2 cars on their pit stop.
Yeah, they nailed it. So
it wasn't just the car being good and the drivers slaying. They actually pulled a good strategy. It's amazing what can happen when you don't fuck up a strategy, isn't it?
They just needed the summer break. They needed a siesta. Like...
That's a Spanish thing, but we'll let it
I know, but you know, same part of the world.
It's Carlos Sainz, so it's fine.
Yeah. They needed a break.
He bridges both worlds for now.
They needed an afternoon nap.
They did. They really did. They needed something.
Yeah. And now we're back on board. So
yeah.
Anyway.
The double undercut was really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, Oscar then overtook George.
Yeah.
But I thought, like, we didn't really hear much radio messaging from George, but I thought when they pitted him the second time, that was a little wild. They just literally lost him to, like, his tyres must have been fucked.
They just had PTSD from Spa. They were like, no. I need you to come on in.
Oh, true. But they, like, pitted him from 5th to 7th and then nothing happened. Like, into a massive gap that he wasn't going to close down. So he's like, I was like, when they brought him in again, I was like, odd. But true, maybe some PTSD from Spa played into that. I mean, what else happened? Oh my god, the 5-car brawl on the main straight.
Yeah, that was so random. And, like, out of nowhere, too. Like, I don't know what the broadcast is like on F1 TV, but there was, like, nothing of them getting closer together on Sky.
No,
and
just
then,
cut to, like...
Yeah, all of a sudden it was like, huh?
I was literally like, oh! I'm sure I shrieked a little bit. I was like, what lap are we on?
I know. Is this lap 1?
Wild. It was wild, and obviously K-Mag just got overtaken by 4 people in one go, but, like, that was wild.
I know.
And it was all for the last points position too, so that was people running 10th down to, like, 14th, like, that was those cars.
Yeah.
And, like, Alex being on the radio, like, that was so dangerous, like, sure, but, like, what? That's just such a weird thing to happen.
I know. I don't think I've seen that really. Or maybe, like, Singapore last year, there was, like, there was a group up the front. But, yeah, it was just very bizarre. Like... Yeah.
It was fun, though, because, like, obviously it all panned out fine.
Well, that was the thing, was because it was, like, there wasn't a whole lot going up the front, because everyone was, like, gapped out. And so, yeah, there was some interest there. But, yeah, I mean, for the rest of the race, it kind of was just very processional, like, particularly up the front.
I mean, when, like, Lando was lapping Lance Stroll and he, like, didn't get out of the way, I was like, bro, piss off. I was like, the last thing I need is for you to be a right fool and ruin this for everybody.
Because it wouldn't be the first
Because I was like, I know. And I was like, get out of the way. You're being lapped.
Yeah. Blue flag.
You're nowhere near the race
move.
lead. Fool.
Yeah,
but He also got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which I thought was funny. I mean, like, it's just funny because it's him. It happens frequently to everybody, but like, I mean, it happens to the best of us. But it was kind of funny.
True.
Sorry. Nico Hulkenberg did 50 laps on one set of tires.
Did he?
Yeah.
Wow. On hards,
At the start of the race, I'm assuming. But he was up in running. That was when he was running in the top 10 for most of the race because he literally did not stop.
Oh, yeah, I did notice that. At one point, I was like, Nico's in 9th. Huh?
Yeah, because he hadn't pitted. And he ran 50 laps on one set of tyres. So he did good. And I think that from him crashing in every practice session, it's a good drive. Literally.
Wow.
I saw a meme. Obviously, we spoke yesterday when we were earlier in the episode and talking about how Haas owed a former sponsor money and they were going to seize their assets. And I saw a meme saying that Haas was sabotaging Nico's car so they wouldn't have any assets for them to seize.
Oh my god.
So I thought that was really funny.
That is funny.
Anyways,
I guess that kind of leads us nicely onto our awards. Specifically, who is your biggest winner for the weekend?
Well, Lando.
Yes.
And McLaren. Those upgrades look great. I mean, I'm excited to see what Oscar can do with them when he has a bit of a better weekend. I don't really know what was going on with that. I didn't hear if he was running less upgrades. I assume he wouldn't be running
No,
less.
I think it was the same.
I think it was the same. But
yeah, he just had a bit of an off weekend.
Winning by 22.5 seconds it's a statement.
Yeah.
Like Lando and McLaren were in my eyes the biggest winners, but also Ferrari.
Yeah. They were the two I had as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, like...
Ferrari just being like, this is amazing.
They went to strategy school over the summer break.
They've been studying.
Damn time.
No, absolutely. Speaking about Lando and his points, obviously, like, a little while ago we talked about, like, is there actually a championship battle? How do you feel about that after this weekend?
Yeah, I think the win by 22.5 seconds is promising.
Yeah.
I still think, like, that was a relatively straightforward race in terms of strategy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there was no safety cars, there was no anything like that. Like, the car and the driver kind of just got the job done. I feel like McLaren's strategy still has the ability to fuck things up.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the thing.
They need to not do that.
Yeah. Like, I think for Lando to win the championship, he would have to drive like a perfect season for the
and
rest
McLaren would have to execute a perfect strategy for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
And we'd need some Ferraris and some Mercedes cars to be beating Max.
Yeah.
As well.
So I think Matt and Tommy talked about this, but they were saying if Lando won every single race and Max came second every single race from now until the end of the season, disregarding like fastest lap points and stuff.
Yeah.
Lando would lose by 7 points. Which is like, it's so unlikely that Lando is going to win every single race from now until the end of the season. But like...
Oh my god, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I know. But yeah, I think...
Oh no.
If we ask this question again, if Max has a DNF or like just a really bad race, that could open the door. But I think as it stands at the moment, it's still looking unlikely.
I'm here for everyone being like, the championship battle is on. I'm here for the vibes.
Yeah.
And the constructors is obviously well and truly on. Speaking of, great drive from Perez.
Yeah. Yeah.
He needed it. I mean, not great drive, like not like outstep. He did what he should have been doing the whole year.
Yes, agreed.
But that's good for him to get some of the haters off his back. Not me, I'm still there very much. But it's like, I feel like he needed to do that to, you know, kind of let that whole thing die down a little bit
totally.
For his own sake.
Yeah, he did well. On to biggest losers. Who were your biggest losers of the weekend?
Well, I had Logan.
Yeah. I had Williams
probably,
because like after Albon got disqualified too, it really just became the whole team for me.
Yeah. But they were looking so good. Like their upgrades kind of slayed, but like they just... But Logan, because that crash probably cost him his seat. I mean, I think that they maybe would have let him stay till the end of the year because they know they got Carlos. But after that, they're like, nah, fuck off.
Yeah.
Which is upsetting. My
other biggest hell was just Sauber again. Like, I mean, I obviously had my rant about Zhou this morning, but like...
Yes.
Yeah. And they just suck. Like...
They do.
It's just embarrassing at this point. It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
And it's affecting Audi too. Like, I feel like they lost Carlos because of how Stakes performed this year.
100%. And now they, like, who are they putting in that seat?
Yeah.
I think they should bring in K-Mag for the memes.
Dude, I know.
It's just for the memes.
Biggest meme? I have a few.
I have a few. Yeah.
We probably have similar ones.
Potentially. First one is in practice when George thought he ran over his mechanic's foot. Did you see this?
Yeah.
So he's like leaving the pit, I guess, and he hits a cone, like one of the marker cones. He's driving away. He's like, oh, hope that wasn't someone's foot.
Bro, I
thought that was
thought
really
he did
funny.
a hit and run too. Like, if you actually thought you hit someone's foot and just continued to drive away.
I know. The tone of his voice too. It was almost like, oh, hope not. Like, yeah. He was like, oops.
Whoopsies.
But it was just a cone, so it's okay.
That's so funny.
The next one, and then I'll let you say.
No,
I'm assuming you have different ones. Because I want to talk about this because I got a little bit yelled at on social media for it.
This was one of mine too.
Yes. Lando saying
go.
Simply Lovely on the radio.
Yes.
You can't tell me that's not funny.
So funny. So
and,
funny.
Like, he said it before. And like, I think it's funny. It's a little bit like,
I think because
cheeky.
we're Australian and we like our culture is like taking the piss, we get it.
Yeah, and like Lando's a Brit, like that's their thing
same,
as well.
same.
Like, yeah, and it's like it's funny. I did gasp. I was like, when I heard it, I was like, oh, like.
It's just like you just beat him by a massive amount in front of his home crowd at a race that he's
on
never
his 200th
lost.
race start.
And he's like your mate. Like,
yeah,
absolutely, you take the piss.
I don't think Lando's thinking about the margin. He's not thinking about it's Max's home race. He's not thinking about.
He's just like, that's funny.
He's never lost here. Exactly. He's just like, oh, I finally beat Max.
Yeah.
You know.
And we're mates. Like, and he says Simply Lovely all the time, so I'm just going to copy that because it's funny. Like...
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. And people are getting so pressed about it. They're like, he shouldn't have said that. It's so disrespectful. Who does he think he is?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, it's not that serious.
Literally.
All right, what's one of your memes?
One of my memes was, well, we already talked about it, but like in Lando's post-quali interview getting asked about like
sorry, I ruined it.
Start. So that was funny. But then my other one was also right at the end. Oh my God.
You're talking about the
cool down room. In the cool down room. Oh my gosh. Yes. Why did I struggle with that so hard? In the cool down room. And like, I think like Charles asked Max like how much Lando beat him by, and Max was like, oh, like 20 something seconds, and both of their faces were just like.
Yeah, Charles looked so stressed. This was on my list as well. He literally was like head in hands. He was like, but But, like, valid. They're like, how is anyone meant to, like, beat them?
I know. He's like, he beat Max by that amount? Like,
yeah, he's like, we're fucked. Basically. And the funniest thing is that it was before Lando got there.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, fuck.
They're like, shit. My other meme is something I've been seeing on social media a lot, and I just disagree with. You know the trend at the moment that's going around? It's kind of, like, unrelated to this race, but it's, like, this and yap, and it'll be, like, you know, it'll be, like, you know, a beautiful beach and, like, serene water, and it's, like, this and yap as, like, the best thing to do is just to be in that situation and just yapping, which I agree with. But I've seen people, like, watching F1 and being like, this and yap. No, don't talk to me.
Silence, focus. Dude, honestly.
I get that. I'm like, it's a cute vibe. I understand what people are trying to do. Be like, this is my favorite thing in the world, and like that's kind of, I think, where they're coming from with that. But
like no,
I disagree entirely. No one's talking to me.
For real.
Unless it's about what's happening. Like if someone's sitting next to me and we're like watching together, that's great.
But I'm also like, say it quickly because I want to hear the commentary.
Yeah. Shh. People are trying to talk to me while I'm watching it. I'm like, shut up. I'm gonna have a mental break. I can't hear. I can't see. I can't think. People are going off the road. The commentary is saying important things. There's a team radio popping up and you're talking to me about...
People that talk in the team radio...
Straight to jail, please.
Get out of here. You're done. Like, I don't.
And especially when there's no subtitles.
I know.
And I'm like,
it grinds my gears.
Hello, a little bit of awareness, perhaps.
Literally, you hear that little of the radio.
Silence.
Shut up.
If you hear that sound, that is your cue. To be quiet.
I don't care what you're talking about. You could be proposing. Shut up.
Yeah, I fully agree. I agree 100%. I mean,
so silly.
Hopefully someone, if anyone's proposing to either of us, they understand that during an F1 race is probably the worst possible time for that.
I think if it gets to the stage of them proposing to us, they're going to know that. You know? You'd hope
they would know.
You'd hope they'd know
at
that point.
Agree.
Anyway.
Otherwise, I'm saying no.
Correct. You're like, I was going to say yes, but you've just talked over the top of the team. Yeah. So we're breaking it.
That is something I would do, to be fair. Okay, let's move on.
Anyway, what was your silliest surprise of the weekend?
My silliest surprise, I have two. My first very simple silly surprise is Ferrari having a good strategy.
Yeah.
That was a silly surprise.
Yeah.
And my other one was Lando clinching the fastest lap on dead hard tyres on the last lap.
On the last lap? That was crazy.
He ate that. Are you kidding? Because towards the end, I was getting a little stressed because he was full sending around that track. And I was like, oh my God, you got like...
Yeah, there's no need.
Careful. What are you doing?
I know.
But then obviously he was going for the fastest lap. And the commentary said like, with this gap, they could, with about like 5 laps to go, they could pit him for new softs and go out and get back past, like he would come out right in front of Max or like just behind and like overtake and get the fastest lap. And I was like, don't do that. I was like, don't do that. No. Please. But as it turned out, he didn't need so. He all he needed for the fastest lap was dead hard tyres.
Yeah, it was crazy. Mine was the same as your first one, Charles. Well, like Charles being on the podium, like Ferrari just nailing the strategy. Big win.
Yeah, that's so exciting for you. I'm so happy for you. You've been in the trenches.
So obviously, Lando was once again driver of the day. I know. Who was your driver of the day?
Yeah. Well,
If you say Lando.
No, I'm not saying Lando. I just want to comment on like him getting driver of the day. I think that was the people rejoicing. The people were just like, yeah, he's finally like won the race, you know? Yeah. I think that, I know, we've spoken about this before, like Lando just gets driver of the day for not much. But I kind of knew he was going to get driver of the day as soon as he was like, definitely going to win the race. I had Charles.
Yeah, I think Charles and
as my driver
Gasly.
of the day. Yeah.
Because they both played, as we said.
Yeah.
What was your favourite moment of the weekend?
Lando winning.
Yes.
But also, on media day, when Lando's mum turned up in the crowd and
that
surprised
was so
him.
Cute.
That was adorable.
That
That was like one of my favourite moments. Yeah, and then, because the video when he's like on stage with Oscar, and he's just like, oh, it's my mum. For him to finally win, and then like his mum surprised him on media day, and it was like a family thing. Like I just thought that was really sweet.
Yeah, no, for sure. I agree. I think that was a really cute little moment.
Yeah.
From just an entertainment value, seeing Lando lose it at the start was so funny to me, especially because I was just like, oh my god, Evie's gonna be dying right now. Like I literally burst out laughing. Which sounds awful.
You're horrible.
But I know.
You're actually the worst. That's so horrible. I can't believe you would do that.
I mean, look, there'll be plenty of times
I was
you can
not
give
having
me
a
shit
good
over
time.
Ferrari. My actual favourite moment was Carlos's overtake on Pierre. It was just such a good overtake.
Yeah, that was
like clean, just solid. So yeah, that was fine.
I agree. Do you want to flash forward to Monza?
Yeah, home of Ferrari. I'm
expecting them to be good.
Gear. Please.
Yes.
It's Carlos's. I read somewhere it's Carlos's birthday this weekend.
Oh.
Which is like, it's your birthday, it's your last race weekend in Monza with Ferrari. Let all the stars align.
Come on.
And have a good... I'm not expecting a win, but like just a podium.
A good weekend.
Would be so nice
for
Carlos.
Nice. That's cute. I didn't know that. That's good. But I think we expect Ferrari to be strong in Monza.
Yeah.
As long as they're kind of doing well in general.
As long as they're not battling each other like they did last year.
I would love to see that. That would be so funny.
That was Panic City for me.
Yeah, I know. That would be so funny though.
Me and like every Ferrari fan.
I know. I just hope that Max isn't on the podium and Lando is.
Ferrari 1-2, Lando in third. That's what I think.
Max DNF.
Max 11.
I'm not praying.
We don't want him to DNF.
Yes.
Just no points to kind of.
But like, I'm just like, he's not really going to finish 11th. I'm like, either he's finishing high in the points or he's DNF. Like, you know, like,
I know.
It's probably more likely that he DNFs than finishes 11th.
I know.
Potentially. But anyway,
Anyways.
I would be here for a good Ferrari weekend at Monza if Lando still does well and gains on Max in the championship. That's my caveat for that.
Fair.
Anyways.
Well, anyway, I think that wraps it up. So I think...
I mean, we went for a while, actually.
We did. So. This might be... Despite a not so exciting race, we had a lot to talk about. So we got one more episode of Potty over there.
It'll be much better.
Yeah. When I looked at the footage from this morning, I was like, oh. So might sort out the setup a bit better next time. We'll see.
Yeah, but it's okay. You mean for you or for me?
No, for me.
Oh, I was like, I did my best.
Yeah, Evie, you look shit. Sort it out.
I was like, there's not much more I could do. I'm aware, but it's really the best.
I'm in my PJs.
But I think next week will be better, and then after that, I will be back. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you're listening on Spotify, please do give us a 5-star review, as it really does help us. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to... I was looking at you, not the camera. Oh, well. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe, please. We're actually nearly at 100 subscribers, so be the 100th. Or just subscribe anyway. But like the video, drop us a comment, let us know what you thought of the race, what you think is going to happen in Monza, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.